Let's take a look at the next drill in our breaststroke series. This drill is going to be a sculling drill performed with a snorkel. As a reminder, there are three different pull lifts that we'd like to kind of explore, and those are going to be 11 and 1, 10 and 2, and 9 and 3. Those arm lifts are just going to represent the arms on a clock that we're going to potentially have. In this drill, we're going to look at specifically just 10 and 2. So the arms will sweep out to 10 and 2. This drill will be performed here with a breaststroke kick and with a snorkel, so just our athletes can focus on the sweeping movement of the skull and then connecting that just with the breaststroke kick. So let's take a look at that kick first. So here we have our toes pointed, and then what we're going to want to see is the heels here are going to come up to the hips. The higher that those heels are able to come up, the more power that we're going to get. Now remember, every athlete's going to have a different level of flexibility and mobility present for them. So here our athlete, we've got a little bit of a gap here between the heels and the hips, and again, that's going to be all right. The higher up that can get, the better that will be. And then at this point, what we would want to see is that the feet are going to be turning out. We're going to want to make sure that we're going to be able to grab water here on the inside of the feet, but also on the inside of the legs. When we're setting up for this kick, it's also very important that we keep the knees along the hip line here. That's going to help kind of ensure that when we go into full stroke swimming or drills with full stroke swimming, that the arms and the legs then are going to be able to complement one another, and we're going to really be able to kick ourselves forward, kind of overlapping the line that we create up in the front. Remember also that when we're doing that kick, we're going to want to see that kick performed at a downward angle. When we do that, then we're going to be able to really be able to grab the water and be able to kind of move us forward. You guys saw that little jolt right there of moving forward. That's resulted from the kick direction that is created from that'll be the direction the body is going to be going because of the direction of that kick. At the end of the kick, we want to make sure we're also remembering to point those toes. Pointing those toes will help just bring everything up here a little bit more up to the surface, so that way then we can just continue to squeeze the most out of that line for our short axis stroke. Here our athlete's just going to wear a snorkel just to kind of keep everything in line when we're going to be traveling. Now you guys see this a little bit here where we get those hips up. Ultimately in breaststroke, that's what we want. We just want to watch that we're not going to have too much movement here going up and down. The more steady we can kind of keep that head here, the overall that will be better. So then what we're going to want to look at is just this outsweep. Now 10 and 2 is probably going to be the most common width that we're going to be able to go, and this is something that we would recommend for strong age group swimmers and also probably the majority of your senior level swimmers. Your developmental swimmers will probably go more into that 11 and 1 range, so we would encourage you to check out our breaststroke series on that. But here we're just going to want to see those hands go out to about 10 o'clock and then about to 2 o'clock. Perfect. And then we're just going to kind of flip those hands right here and then return back going inward right there. And then as soon as that pull is finished, or the skull is finished, then what we're going to do is just then add that kick. There we go. And you guys can see how the body then just travels through the water. And just keep putting that on repeat. There's nothing really too fancy about this. What we want to really kind of focus on is just getting how wide those arms be able to go, so that we can really feel that 10 and 2 position here. and then connecting that with a great breaststroke kick. In a previous version of this drill, we also looked at doing this just with the flutter kick. So just kind of this will help kind of the athlete really feel that kick really in a good position. So taking a look of an underwater view of the kick. So again, we're setting up. The heels here are going to get up as close to the hips as possible. Now here we want to check for the width of the knees. So here we're just a little bit outside. Kind of see that right there. So this will probably still be mostly okay and within range, but what we would want to see is just a little bit closer into the hip area. The feet being outside of the hip area when it performs the kick, that's something absolutely, yes, we want to look for. But we do a really nice job here of setting up, grabbing the water here again, kind of on the inside of the feet and also on the inside of the calf, kicking in that downward direction. Now here we can kind of kick actually a little more downward. So we kind of see right here that the kick stops about right there. And we've got then this gap here between the legs. That kind of tells us that we can kick a little bit more at that downward angle direction. And then what we want to again kind of see is the curling here of the toes. That will help bring the feet up a little bit more here up to the surface. And as we get ready to switch here to our return view, I'm just going to again kind of look for those same things. So some up and down with the head is going to be just expected because of the direction of the kick that's happening. But again, it's just something we want to be aware of. And here we just want to see again out to 10 and out to 2. There we go. Our athlete's doing a really nice job of that right there, keeping everything nice and consistent. Connecting then that here with the breaststroke kick, keeping everything nice and even. As we return here to our underwater view, sweep out, so we can see that right there. Then what we want to see is just a good return in. Perfect. Now we know the kick is also setting up very well because we're not seeing those knees kind of coming in under the body right there. So that's also a really good thing to make sure that we're also looking for. And then just again, returning nice and in. Overall here, if you found some great value out of this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe.